The alarm shrieked through the zero-gravity combat arena, and Lily Torres knew immediately that something was wrong. The containment field flickered, pulsed once, then died completely. 50 razor-wing drones, designed to test combat reflexes at non-lethal settings, suddenly dropped to full autonomous hunter mode. Their wings buzzed like chainsaws as they oriented toward the nearest heat signatures. Lily didn't freeze. She didn't hesitate. While the 12 other cadets hung motionless in their safety harnesses, their eyes wide with the peculiar terror of prey animals, Lily was already moving. She ripped the harness release, kicked off the nearest wall, and grabbed the closest thing that could serve as a weapon, a maintenance rod from the emergency kit. "Pixel, Hunt," she said quietly. The small, orange tabby cat that had been drifting lazily in his own harness suddenly became something else entirely. His pupils dilated to black pools, his body coiled. Then he launched himself with precision that would have made a missile jealous, claws extended, straight at the nearest drone. The Vrel cadet, named Shesh, made a sound like air escaping a punctured hull. He'd spent the last week calling Lily's companion a quaint decoration, and questioning why humans needed emotional support predators. Now he watched as Pixel latched onto a razor wing, with all 4 sets of claws, bit through its sensor array and used the dying machine's momentum to launch himself at the next target. Lily didn't have time to appreciate the poetry. 3 drones vectored toward a cluster of paralyzed cadets near the far wall. She pushed off hard, calculating angles without conscious thought, and swung the rod in a wide arc. The impact sent vibrations up her arms that would have fractured a Kelton's lightweight bones. She felt it, registered it, ignored it. 2 drones spiraled away, smoking. The third adjusted course toward her face. She caught it with her bare hand. The razor wing's blades bit into her palm, drawing blood that formed perfect spheres in the zero-gravity environment. Lily squeezed until she felt components crack, then hurled the wreckage at 2 more incoming targets. The collision bought her 3 seconds. 3 seconds was enough. She grabbed a cadet, MX, Vorn, a Peltharian exchange student, and threw them toward the emergency exit with enough force to clear the drone field. "Go! All of you, move!" But they couldn't move like she could. Their evolution hadn't prepared them for this. Their worlds had been kind, gentle, safe. Earth had been none of those things. Pixel streaked past her peripheral vision, a blur of orange fury that defied his 3-kilo mass. He destroyed 4 drones and was working on his 5th, moving in 3 dimensions with the instincts of a creature whose ancestors had hunted in trees, in darkness, in conditions that would have killed most galactic species before they developed stone tools. The last of the cadets finally started moving toward the exits, their training overriding their shock. Lily positioned herself between them and the remaining swarm, the maintenance rod spinning in her grip. Blood from her cut palm made the metal slick, but her grip never wavered. A drone came at her from above. She twisted, brought the rod up in a strike that would have dislocated a Krallian's shoulder. The drone crumpled. Another from the left. She pivoted on nothing but expelled air and core strength, caught it mid-flight, 2 more converging from different angles. She waited until the last possible microsecond, then moved in a way that made them collide with each other. Pixel landed on her shoulder, his small chest heaving, purring like a combustion engine. 8 drones in 45 seconds. Lily had taken out 12. The remaining 30 had shifted to defensive protocols and retreated to the arena's ceiling. The emergency team arrived to find Lily floating in the center of the arena, bloody hand wrapped in her uniform sleeve, her cat perched on her shoulder and cleaning his claws. The other cadets had evacuated safely. Not a single casualty besides the drones, and Lily's hand, which she'd already decided wasn't serious enough to mention. The medic, a Zithian named Kelva who'd seen combat injuries across 3 sectors, stared at the torn flesh of Lily's palm with her 4 eyes. "You caught a razor-wing drone with your bare hand. It was going to hit Cadet Vorn," Lily said simply. "You should have lost the hand. The blades rotated. I know the specifications." Lily flexed her fingers, watching the blood globules drift. "It's fine, just a cut." Kelva made a notation on her datapad with trembling manipulators. "Your pain threshold is abnormal. For a human, Not really. Lily stroked Pixel's head. He'd gone back to his default state, a lazy, contented ball of fluff that radiated innocence. We evolved with pain as information, not incapacitation. Different design philosophy. The instructor who arrived next was Vrel, the same one who'd questioned Lily's admission during orientation. Commander Zeph, his crystalline features arranged in what might have been shock. Cadet Torres, your actions were necessary, Lily interrupted. She knew how this would play. She'd seen it in every simulation, every exercise, every interaction since she'd arrived at Zenith 7 Station. The other cadets needed time to evacuate. I provided it. You violated 6 safety protocols. The safety protocols failed when the containment field dropped. Lily met his gaze directly. On some worlds, that was a threat. On Earth, it was honesty. Someone needs to explain why military-grade drones went to kill mode during a training exercise. Zeth's body language shifted in a way Lily had learned, meant discomfort. That will be investigated. Good. She pushed toward the exit, Pixel riding her shoulder like a tiny purring co-pilot. I'll expect the report. She didn't wait for dismissal. Another human trait that confused the Galactics, the assumption of equality rather than the acceptance of hierarchy. The medical bay patched her hand in silence. Kelva worked with the careful precision of someone reassessing everything they thought they knew. When she finished, she said quietly, "The other cadets are calling you reckless. I know. They're afraid of you." Lily looked down at Pixel, who'd curled up on the medical table and was now fully asleep, his small body rising and falling with each breath. To her, he was a companion, a friend, a reminder of home. To the Galactics, he was a barely domesticated apex predator that had somehow bonded with an even more terrifying species. They should be afraid of whoever sabotaged that containment field, Lily said, because when I find them, I'm going to make them explain why they tried to kill 20 cadets to prove a point. Kelva's eyes widened. You think it was deliberate? Containment fields don't just fail, they're triple redundant, and the timing was perfect, right when all the core world cadets were in the arena, with minimal supervision. Lily stood, scooped up Pixel, who barely stirred. Yeah, it was deliberate. What will you do? Lily smiled, and Kelva took an involuntary step backward. It wasn't a friendly expression. It was the smile of a persistence hunter who just caught the scent. I'm going to find them, Lily said, and then they're going to learn why Earth is classified as a class 1, 2, Deathworld. She walked out before Kelva could respond, Pixel purring against her chest, her injured hand already forgotten. The hunt had begun. The station's security footage had been corrupted. Convenient. But Lily hadn't expected it to be easy. She sat in her quarters, Pixel sprawled across her lap, and pulled up the maintenance logs instead. If someone had sabotaged the containment field, they'd needed physical access. That meant authorization codes, timestamps, entry records. Most species would have given up after the first 3 dead ends. Humans, though, had evolved chasing prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. A few hours of data analysis was nothing. She found it at 0300 hours. An authorized maintenance entry, logged to a technician Prex, occurring 2 hours before the exercise. Except Prex had been off station, confirmed by shuttle logs. Someone had used his credentials. Pixel's ear twitched. A second later, Lily heard the footsteps approaching her door. She closed the datapad and waited. The chime rang. Enter, she said. Commander Thex stepped through the door, and Lily immediately reassessed the situation. Dex was Kralian, a species evolved on a heavy-gravity world, built like they were designed to wrestle tanks. He'd commanded 3 successful campaigns against the Shriven Collective, and wore the scars to prove it. He was also the head of tactical training and had the authority to expel her with a single word. Cadet Torres, Thex said, his voice like gravel in a crusher. You've been accessing restricted databases. Yes, sir. You were told the investigation was ongoing. Yes, sir. And yet you continue. Lily met his eyes. Sir, someone tried to kill my classmates. I'm not going to wait for committee approval to stop them from trying again. Vex studied her for a long moment. Pixel raised his head, assessed the visitor, and apparently decided he wasn't a threat. The cat yawned, showing teeth that were tiny by galactic standards, but had evolved to kill things efficiently nonetheless. You found something, Thex said. It wasn't a question. Stolen credentials. Maintenance access 2 hours before the incident. The logs were good, but not good enough. Lily pulled up her data pad. Whoever did this knew the systems but didn't account for the biosignature scanners in the maintenance tunnels. They thought they were deleted, but they're backed up on a separate. I know how the systems work, Cadet. Thex took the data pad, scanned the data, then handed it back. This proves nothing alone, but it's a thread. Pull it hard enough, and the whole thing unravels. Unless whoever set this up is willing to kill to protect their secret. Thex's expression hardened. You understand you're putting yourself at risk. Sir, I'm human. Risk is my default state. For the first time, Thex's mandibles quirked in what might have been amusement. I've read the reports from Earth. The casualty statistics from your species' development period. The extinction events you survived. The fact that you evolved alongside megafauna that should have eliminated you. We're persistent, Lily said. You're insane. But there was respect in his tone. There's a faction within the Academy, and the wider Galactic Council, that believes humans shouldn't be allowed into open space. They think you're too dangerous, too violent, too unpredictable. And let me guess, they decided to prove it by creating a crisis where I'd have to react violently. Precisely. Thex moved to the window, looking out at the stars beyond. But they didn't account for human protectiveness. You were supposed to save yourself and let the others die. Instead, you saved everyone and made yourself the target. Lily felt her jaw tighten. Who? I don't have names yet, but I have suspicions. Thex turned back to her. I'm assigning you to deep maintenance duty tomorrow. Sector 7, lower engineering. You'll be alone for 6 hours. It was a trap, obviously. Lily nodded. Understood, sir. Cadet Torres. Thex's voice dropped. I'm Kralian. My species evolved on a world with 3 times Earth's gravity, with predators that could crush steel. We consider ourselves warriors. He paused. Today I watched your arena recordings 4 times. I watched you catch a razor wing with your bare hand and keep fighting. I watched your animal, your companion, kill with an efficiency that our combat AI rated as exceptional. And I realized something. What's that, sir? Earth didn't produce survivors. It produced weapons. Thex moved toward the door. Don't prove them right, Cadet. Prove them wrong. Show them that humans can be trusted with power. He left before Lily could respond. Pixel stretched, kneaded her leg with his claws, retracted because he was a good cat who loved her, and meowed softly. Yeah, Lily said, scratching behind his ears. I know. But he's not wrong, is he? We are dangerous. Pixel purred, unconcerned. He'd killed 8 military drones that afternoon and was now completely focused on getting more ear scratches. The duality was very cat, very human, very Earth. Lily pulled up the schematics for Sector 7. Lower engineering was a maze of conduits, recycling systems, and maintenance tunnels. Perfect for an ambush. Perfect for someone who wanted a human cadet to disappear quietly. She smiled. They were thinking like prey animals, like species that avoided danger. Humans ran toward it. Sector 7 was dark, quiet, and exactly as dangerous as Lily expected. She'd brought Pixel in his modified carrier, designed for 0G and rated for combat environments. Not standard issue, but then again, nothing about Earth was standard. The maintenance route took her through tunnels barely wide enough for her shoulders. The galactic species were, on average, smaller than humans. The passages were built for them. Lily had to crouch, crawl, squeeze through gaps that made her old caving experience on Earth feel spacious. Pixel, naturally, had no such problems. He'd slipped out of the carrier 2 tunnels back and was now ranging ahead, his night vision vastly superior to her headlamp. The first sign of trouble was Pixel's tail going bushy. Lily froze. Contact? A soft chirp. Affirmative, in their shared language. She killed her headlamp and let her eyes adjust. Humans couldn't see in complete darkness, but they adapted faster than most galactic species. Another Deathworld trait. Eyes designed for both bright African savanna and deep cave systems. Movement ahead. multiple signatures, trying to be quiet, failing by human standards. Lily pressed herself against the tunnel wall and accessed her comm. Dead. Jammed. She'd expected that too. Cadet Torres. The voice came from a speaker somewhere ahead. Vrel accent. You've been very persistent, human. Thanks, Lily called back. I try. This was supposed to be simple. You were supposed to be a cautionary tale. The violent human who couldn't control herself. The voice had an edge now. Anger. But you had to be heroic. You had to save them. Weird habit of mine. Who am I talking to? Someone who understands that your species is a threat. Today, you proved it. How it could have slipped outside of our perimeter is out of our perimeter is slipped outside 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 of our perimeter. Give me a medal. Lily was moving as she talked. You don't know what the day of patience are sharing, he said in Sadmos. Pixel was somewhere ahead, silent as death. They'll quarantine Earth, lock you away before you can spread. The voice was closer now. We're doing the galaxy a favor by killing cadets, by framing humans as monsters. Lily found a junction, 3 tunnels converging. Good sightlines. Bad if she was surrounded. You're not heroes. You're just scared. Of course we're scared, the voice cracked. Your world killed 97 of every species that ever evolved on it. Your oceans have creatures that can crush submarines. Your plants have toxins that can kill with a touch. And you evolved to persistence hunt. You chase prey until it dies of exhaustion. What kind of sane species does that? The kind that survives, Lily said quietly. The attack came from 3 directions simultaneously. They'd been positioning while talking, using her own tactic against her. Professional. Trained. But they'd made one critical mistake. They thought like prey. Lily dropped flat as energy weapons discharged where her head had been a microsecond earlier. She kicked off the wall, rolled through the junction, came up with a pipe wrench she'd palmed from a maintenance kit. The first attacker, Vrel, wearing Academy security armor, got the wrench across his faceplate hard enough to crack the crystal. He went down. Lily kept moving. The second attacker came from above, Peltharian, using mag boots to cling to the ceiling. Lily waited until he was committed to his strike, then stepped aside and used his own momentum to slam him into the wall. The impact would have killed a human. It knocked the Peltharian unconscious. The third was smarter. Hung back, tried to get a shot. But Pixel had been waiting for exactly this moment. The cat dropped from a ventilation shaft onto the attacker's head. Claws found eye sockets. The attacker screamed, fired wildly, and Lily closed the distance. A strike to the weapon arm. Compound fracture. She felt it snap. Then a chokehold until he stopped struggling. 3 down. But there would be more. Lily grabbed the closest weapon, checked the charge. Half full. Not great. She looked at Pixel, who was calmly grooming himself as if he hadn't just blinded someone. Good hunt, she said. Pixel meowed. His eyes were still dilated, still in predator mode. He was having the time of his life. They moved deeper into Sector 7, and Lily's mind was already working through the probabilities. 5 attackers, maybe 6. They'd chosen this location because it was isolated, because help couldn't reach her in time. But isolation worked both ways. She found the environmental controls and smiled. Earth's atmosphere was 21% oxygen, comfortable for humans. The galactic standard was 18%. A small difference, but enough. Lily started adjusting settings. The next 2 attackers came fast, trying to overwhelm her with speed. They found the tunnel filled with Earth-normal atmosphere and started gasping immediately. Lily, breathing easy, took them apart with clinical efficiency. The 5th attacker was Krallian, heavy worlder like Thex. Stronger than her, tougher than her, more experienced. He lasted 30 seconds, because Lily fought like Earth taught her. Adapt or die. She used the confined space, her flexibility, her willingness to take hits that would cripple. She fought like something that evolved alongside lions and bears and crocodiles. She fought like something that had to kill or be killed for 2 million years. When he fell, she was bleeding from a dozen places, her ribs screaming but still standing. The last attacker never showed. Lily found him in a maintenance closet, unconscious, with Pixel sitting on his chest like a tiny, purring emperor. "Show off," Lily muttered, but she was smiling. She zip-tied all 6 attackers, adjusted the oxygen back to normal, and activated her emergency beacon. Then she sat down, back against the wall, and let Pixel climb into her lap. "We're in so much trouble," she told him. Pixel purred. Trouble was relative. The security team found her 20 minutes later, surrounded by unconscious conspirators, covered in blood, most of it not hers, with her cat asleep in her lap. The lead officer, a Zithian named Krev, stared at the scene. "Cadet Torres, what? How?" "They ambushed me," Lily said calmly. "Self-defense. There are 6 of them. Yes. You're 1 cadet, and 1 cat," Lily added, scratching Pixel's ears. "Don't forget Pixel. He's very sensitive about being left out." The interrogations took 3 days. The conspirators, a mix of Academy staff and extremist council supporters, had planned to kill Lily and blame it on a training accident. The Razor Wing incident was supposed to be proof of human instability. Her death was supposed to be a cautionary tale. Instead, Lily had exposed the entire network, survived an ambush by trained operatives, and done it all while protecting a 3-kilo house cat. The evidence she'd gathered, combined with the testimony of the attackers, brought down 14 high-ranking officials across 4 sectors. The conspiracy had roots deeper than anyone expected, a coordinated effort to prevent human integration through fear and propaganda. Commander Thex delivered the final briefing personally. "The Council has reviewed your case, Cadet Torres." Lily stood at attention, Pixel in his carrier by her feet. She was prepared for expulsion, for Earth being quarantined, for everything the conspirators wanted. "They've decided," Thex continued, "that your actions demonstrated exactly the qualities the Galactic Academy seeks to cultivate: courage, tactical thinking, selflessness, and an uncompromising commitment to your fellow cadets." Lily blinked. "Sir, you're being awarded the Star of Valor, the youngest cadet in Academy history to receive it." Thex's mandibles quirked. "Also, there's a formal request from the Crawlian Defense Forces to include human-style combat training in their curriculum. Apparently we've been fighting wrong for 3,000 years. I don't know what to say, sir. Say you'll graduate. Say you'll show the galaxy that humans aren't monsters." Thex leaned closer. "Say you'll prove that Deathworlders can be trusted with the stars." Lily felt tears forming and didn't bother to hide them. Another human trait. Crying when emotions overwhelmed. Most Galactics found it disturbing. Thex just waited. "I'll prove it, sir," she said. "We'll prove it?" Pixel meowed from his carrier, and Thex actually laughed. "Yes, Pixel. You too." The ceremony was broadcast across the Galactic network. Lily stood in her dress uniform. Pixel perched on her shoulder wearing a tiny metal collar that he absolutely hated. Representatives from 40 species watched as she received the Star of Valor. The applause was thunderous. Later, in the quiet of her quarters, Lily looked out at the stars and thought about Earth, thought about the billions of humans back home, waiting to see if the galaxy would accept them. Thought about all the species that evolved alongside humanity, the dogs and cats and horses and hawks that had chosen to partner with hairless apes instead of eating them. Pixel chirped and headbutted her hand. She picked him up, held him close. "We did it," she whispered. "We showed them." Pixel purred his agreement. They'd proven that Deathworlders weren't monsters. They were survivors, protectors, warriors when necessary, but always, always committed to something bigger than themselves. The galaxy had tried to test humanity and found something unexpected. Not the violence they feared, but the fierce love that made violence necessary. Not the predators they expected, but the guardians those predators chose to become. Lily Torres and her cat had changed the course of history, not through conquest or domination, but by doing what humans did best: adapting, persisting, and refusing to give up. The stars waited, And humanity, with all its Deathworld baggage and its impossible companion species, was finally ready to reach them. Pixel meowed once more, demanding dinner. Some things, Lily thought with a smile, never changed. No matter how far from Earth you went, cats were still cats, and humans were still human. The galaxy would just have to deal with it.